let's turn our attention now to Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. This was so juicy, and it's kind of flown under the radar because of the whole Matthews contract, and everyone's talking about the Leafs. But Mark Spector from Sportsnet had a chat with Connor McDavid, and they talked about last season and McDavid maturing as a leader and setting the culture in Edmonton, making everyone in the organization completely understand that there's no more learning how to win. It's no, the Edmonton Oilers are a Stanley Cup caliber team, and you can argue with that all you want. I don't know if they're quite a Stanley Cup caliber team. Like, I still think they have a couple holes here and there. Here come the Oilers fans in the comments. But anyway, he is trying to set the standard for that whole organization. We are in win now mode. We need to start winning Stanley Cups. I am Connor fucking McDavid. It's time to start winning championships. I have Leon Draisaitl as my wingman, who's also going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, there's no excuses. We got to start winning. But in that same conversation with Mark Spector, he dropped an absolute bombshell because, as we know, McDavid only has 3 years left on his contract, and there's a lot of jokes that are always flying around that he's just waiting to sign with the Leafs. We'll see if that happens.
No, can we afford him now?
Right now, can't afford Connor McDavid. But anyway, so Mark Spector asked him about his future with the Oilers and signing another long-term deal, and here's what McDavid said. I love playing in Edmonton, and I really feel at home there. Lauren, his fiance, loves being in Edmonton. There are a lot of things that check the boxes for us in Edmonton, he said. We're super comfortable there. But with all that being said, it's 3 years down the road. We've got to kind of see where our lives are at and kind of go from there. I don't say that to raise eyebrows or cause panic. It's just the way that it is. But I love playing in Edmonton. I'm 100% committed to winning in Edmonton with this group, and we're going to see it through. Those are some really juicy comments there. He kind of reeled it back at the end, saying that he's committed to winning in Edmonton. But my goodness, to drop comments like that, where it's 3 years down the road, we got to see where our lives are at and kind of go from there. If I'm an Oilers fan, if I'm one of his teammates, if I'm in the front office of that organization, I am now pretty terrified that Connor McDavid is not going to re-sign in Edmonton.
You talk about the difference in markets. Imagine Matthews would have said that 2-3 years ago. Oh my God. Someone would have, the CN Tower would have been pushed over in a
shitstorm
in anger. But I think it was one of those things, as I was reading the article and reading his quote, and like you said, he made his comment and then he kind of backpedaled a bit, like, I don't want to shake the earth here. Those words came out and Connor fucking regretted them right away.
Oh, yeah.
His brain went, oh, fuck, what did I just say? And maybe his ass got saved. The timing of the Matthews deal and all the announcements about, looks like we're going to have international tournaments set as a distraction. But I'm with you. Like, I read that article and I was like, why isn't this being talked about everywhere? And again, probably because the Matthews deal. But make of it what you want. I don't know, see where our lives are at. And even the cliche answer of I'm committed to Edmonton, I want to be here, even if it's bullshit, that's not what he said. So I don't know. I'm with you, Bruno. Like, I think you're lying if you're sitting there as an Oilers fans and you're saying you were happy to hear those comments, because no, they're negative. They're saying, I don't know. He said he does not know where he's going to be, period. He didn't say he won't be in Edmonton. But then you're going to ask yourself the question, well, would he have said it at all? Even if he had in his mind the frame that he was going to stay in Edmonton? No. It's like, I think based on those words, was at least 50-50 in his mind. So I don't know what to fully make of it. And Oilers fans, comment down below what your reactions to those quotes are. But like I said, well, I'll say it. If Matthews made those comments 2-3 years ago, I'd be flipping out. And I think Toronto would have been flipping out. And think about, again, everyone saying he was going to leave during a year into his deal. People were talking about how Matthews was going to leave, and we had no reason to believe that other than the fact that this kid's American. So he's got to leave. He's got to leave. So imagine he would have dropped that line. And then if this guy, I'll push it even further. Connor McDavid's Canadian. So you can't even have that take. I don't know.
It's a very interesting situation. It's like I said, if I was an Oiler fan, I'd be terrified right now. Like, you don't just drop those comments if there's not a thought in the back of your head that maybe this isn't the best spot for him. And we've talked about this. We've been ahead of this, even going back to when the whole Matthews conversation started. Is he going to re-sign? He's American. Maybe he's going to go to the LA Kings. Maybe he wants to sign with the Rangers or go back to Arizona, that terrible organization that he was never, ever going back to. And we said it at the time. We said, you also have to look at it from the Oilers' perspective as well, because everyone's talking about the Leafs and Matthews leaving, and then they're going to have to blow up the team. The exact same thing could happen in Edmonton. And I think it all hinges on whether that team wins a championship over the next 2 to 3 seasons. Because McDavid, I will say this, Lepore, he does seem to have more of a fire. And I don't know how much all the star players in the league care about winning a Stanley Cup, but based on like McDavid and his demeanor, it seems like he cares a little bit more about winning championships than maybe Austin Matthews does. And, maybe that's a little unfair of me to say because I don't know these guys on a personal level. I don't know what makes them tick, but it does seem like McDavid, he kind of has like that McKinnon gene where he's like a psychopath for winning. And now we're seeing it come out even more. And you're kidding yourself if you don't think McDavid and Draisaitl have had private conversations about their future in Edmonton and whether they can actually win a championship here. So I would be very concerned after these comments. And I think it all hinges on how successful this team is in the playoffs and whether they win a Stanley Cup. Because if we get to 24 months from now, when McDavid's up for an extension and the Oilers just are still nowhere close to winning a championship, there's a very real possibility that dude is leaving Edmonton.
Yeah, I'm going to be so intrigued by that whole situation because players know what their status is in the hockey world. And I say that among fans. And I already made the point. If Connor McDavid retires and does not win a cup, like, I won't know what to say. And to be honest, he's so good, it will be genuinely strange. And people always say, oh, it's hard to win the Stanley Cup and very few players get to do it. You'll see those lists of the best players to not win the cup. Okay. And a lot of Leafs come on that list, like Sundin and Sittler, Marcel Dion, you see those names. But I've always said, if you look at the list of the greatest players of all time, if you get that Hockey News top 100 players of all time issue, they pretty well all have Stanley Cups. Yeah. Like you're trying to pick and find like the guys who don't. So in hockey, it always kind of plays out that way. And because of how good McDavid is, I would be shocked if he doesn't win a cup. So I'm so intrigued to see how he's going to handle the situation. Let's say he plays out his time in Edmonton and he's a free agent. We're in a cap world. Like, he has to go cup hunting with his decision, cup hunting. And that means with regard to the team he chooses and his salary. Because we talk about, we were just saying that people were pointing to $14 million for Matthews. What the fuck would Connor McDavid get? The max?
McDavid on the open market? My God.
He'd get the max. Someone would do the 20%. We'd be the first time we saw it. So he can get it. But if he gets it, he's not going to win a cup. So I'm so intrigued. So very intrigued to see how that's going to play out. Because I think for himself, and this is not a criticism to him, this is a compliment to him, because I think I'm like you, Bruno. I think he really wants to win, and he kind of has to win. I don't know, do we feel this way about Ovechkin? That, man, like, this guy has to win one, or like the legacy's tarnished? Not that I'm going to say Connor McDavid's legacy is going to be tarnished. It's just based on his status of a player historically, he has to win. So it's going to be fun.
He's in that top tier of all-time greats. Like, I'm going to say it right now, and I think most people would agree. Like, he's already one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
100%. Yeah.
So if he doesn't win a cup, you said it, man. You look at all the best players that have ever played in the NHL. What, like 97% of them have won Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
So he's got to win one. And as you said, he's going to go cup hunting to get it. Like, if he becomes a free agent, 100% that dude is going cup hunting. And maybe he takes a little less money and goes to a perfect spot. But I mean, who knows how different teams' cap situations are going to look like. But that dude is going to do whatever it takes to win a cup.
That timing, this is an interesting discussion. Okay, McDavid walks to free agency. in Canada. Like we know across North America, it wouldn't be as big. But in terms of impact on the league, will that decision be as big as the LeBron decision when he chose Miami?
I think so.
I think it's fucking huge.
The NHL is nowhere near the same level as the NBA in terms of popularity, like worldwide.
Right. I just want impact on the league.
But yeah, impact on the league. It'll feel like LeBron's decision when he left the Cavs to go play for the Heat and took his talents to South Beach. Like it'll be that big. Like there should be a TV special around it if McDavid hits free agency.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Like we talk about, we laugh about the guys now who do trade deadline day and July 1 free agency day, and they're just so fucking bored. Like they're sitting up there just waiting for stuff to happen. Can you imagine how they could pump this thing if Connor McDavid was a free agent? Can you imagine?
It would be the most hyped trade deadline day in the history of hockey, and one of the most hyped trade deadline days in the history of North American sports. And maybe that's just me saying that as a hockey fan, but my God, that would be insane.
I guess you get to that point too. I mean, we talked about it with Matthews. Is there a trade? And like it's crazy to think about Connor McDavid, the best player on the planet, getting traded. But you're an organization. If you get to that point and you can't do it in the season because you're going to try to win, or is there the kind of the take I do have on Nylander that no, we have Connor McDavid at what will be a nice 12.5 million the last year of his deal. We're going to ride this out and see what happens. I wouldn't argue either side. So Connor McDavid, man, a book's going to be written, or he could just win the Stanley Cup the next year, the year after, and none of this matters. And yeah,
it's going to be a very interesting next 24 months in Edmonton, and I can't wait. It's time for a quick break because today we're here with a sponsor for your bouncing bundle of joy. No, we're not talking about a baby. We're talking about your baby makers. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. But just like babies, your delicate little guys have sensitive skin and deserve products that are not only skin safe, but made with safe ingredients. That's where Manscaped's Platinum package comes in. From razors to shower care, this package goes above the gold standard for your body hair. So treat your beautiful boys to the world's finest toys at manscaped.com using our exclusive code GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping. Lepore, Manscaped just doesn't miss.
They do not miss, Anthony Bruno. And let's face it, when you're taking care of your baby makers, you want to use quality products. Take some time, look at the Manscaped labels, and you will see it's all A+ ingredients. Some of these other companies, it's an absolute fucking encyclopedia of shit that's put in there. You do not want to put that on your boys. You want to make sure your boys can swim. So go ahead, manscaped.com, use the promo code GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping.
If you're not treating yourself to some Manscaped products, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because you're going to look good, you're going to feel good, and you're going to play good by going to manscaped.com and using our code GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping. Go to manscaped.com, use code GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping. You will not be disappointed.